Well, hello peeps! Welcome to another part of the 0 to 1800 series, where I show you how to get your elite transmog by reaching 1800 in the Soul Shuffle. As always, I will take you through all the necessary steps to accomplish this goal. Since it is late in the season, we will do some stuff a bit differently with probably no additional parts. So first things first, gearing. And that is going to be a bit of a problem this time around. Usually I tell you it's time to pop your cherry, hit the BGs, blah blah blah, do the world PvP, but at this point you really need to be focusing on that conquest gear. Of course, get your honor gear, but trying to get the world PvP items might be, well, let's say, an issue. You can still do it by completing quests, but I don't really think it's worth the time investment. You really just gotta send the rated modes right away, but that is also a little bit sussy at this point in the season. Luckily I have a pocket noob at my disposal to pull out if need be. So I guess I'll just queue up some twos. This will be fun for sure. Hello, you can dispel this! Bro, this is dispellable! Dispel me, dispel me, dispel me! Ah, he grips me! Dispel me, dispel me, dispel me, dispel me, dispel me! Well, I guess a little BG to relax from those arenas, man. Oh, look at him now! Look at him now! If you need to farm sparks for the crafted gear, just hit a heroic dungeon and the catch-up system will pretty much give you a splinter per boss. PvP can be kind of random with this. Now that we got an acquisition out of the way, I will shotgun you with the rest of the info. Mastery overall, but some haste is good. I'm personally running around 20% haste, it is good for both globals and rage generation. Crafted items, I went for blue silken lining on boots and chest. Since we have so much Versa, you can shave off some of it by crafting something other than Versa on your gear. I personally still went for Versa. In any case, peeps, you gotta farm up some conquest gear. I personally went for a Forset first and a ring, and that allowed me to bang it out in 2.2k lobbies. It really is up to you if you want to wait to be fully geared when you start the Soul Shuffle climb, or do you want to start a little bit green like me. Talents, 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 talents. So on the arm side of things, I think at this point we're quite metafied. You should, as always, just read all the points that we're taking, but there is just a few things that you can kind of optimize. Do you need more cleave right here? Is there too many targets for you to get, Colossal Smash onto 2 targets, so pick up Warbreaker. Similar logic for Hurricane, right, versus Unhinged. Is there too many targets, pet classes, right? You're just gonna go for Hurricane because it will give you more damage. Unhinged will just not be able to be used in a proper way in those situations. Other than that, maybe fueled by the violence again if you're not gonna get targeted, but not much that you can do on the arm side of things. Moving on into the warrior side, we are now picking up Cacophorous Roar, while we used to kind of play more with kind of a build like this, where we would go for Thunderclap. Now, it's kind of, you can still play that if you want. I just personally think Thunderclap is just not as useful anymore. It will let you cleave a little bit easier with Rend. It's not that big of a deal in my opinion. You can also cleave your Rends with Sweeping Strikes, so as always you can also optimize 2 points, move around 2 points to get Frothing Berserker and then get Shattering Throw or Wrecking Throw if you're playing versus a Warlock or playing versus a Mage or a Paladin and you really want to remove that immunity, but that is really gonna depend on the situation. Other than that, there really is not much optimizations you can do, maybe bitter immunity, but I just like my points like this. Moving on into the PvP talents, we have the Cookie Cutter, Storm of Destruction, Sharpened Blade, and Battlefield Commander. These are your most preferred PvP talents, or kind of for both aggression and utility, and just like the base Cookie Cutter 3 that I always pick up, and I think most also pick up. Storm of Destruction, just a damage boost, pretty much with cooldown of Blade Storm being extremely low, and of course letting you slow targets when you're Blade Storming, which is just an added utility. Sharpened Blade is your, how would you say, main PvP talent, one PvP talent you will never really switch out. It's like one of the main selling points of arms, right? Like it is one of the only classes that can have like this increased over, 25% whatever it is, reduced healing, so it is very much the point that you cannot move around, and Battlefield Commander is just good all around. Like increases your stamina, Piercing Howl Roots, Berserker Shout. I guess if you're running that, you can remove fear from a further range. Intimidating Shout gets aligned, doesn't like line up with enemy healers cooldown of their trinket, so just makes Intimidating Shout a really powerful win condition. Rallying Cry gets improved, like Thunderous Roar gives you just overall very great talent. Now with arms there is many PvP talents that are really good. Safeguard, and like a lot of them have a usage. I guess I'll go over the meme ones. Shadow of Colossus, a meme one, you don't ever use this. Demolition, only you're gonna use this ever with in combination with Wrecking Throw. And other than that, there is not like, maybe, how would you say, Warbringer and Death Sentence at this point are kind of meme talents, like you would just not run these because you can have Battlefield Commander instead of these. Rebound, sometimes it's okay versus like, I would say like Destor Warlocks and like some other stuff, it's pretty good. Disarm is just disarm, right? It's gonna disarm a target and make them not do any damage, so like something like an Enhanced Shaman, Warriors, other Warriors, right? Duel, something that you really don't pick up in Soul Shuffle. It's kind of more of a twos, I would say, talent, kind of to protect your healer. Warbanner is Warbanner, really good versus CC comps or set-based comps. And Safeguard, right, as I maybe said before, one of your main new PvP talents. Intervene now just has 2 charges, reduces an ally's damage taken by 20% when you do it. Sure, it increases the cooldown of Intervene, but just makes Intervene a more powerful ability, while also like the damage reduction is pretty big when you can't do anything right against magic damage for your target. Races? Are you racist? I'm not. That's why I never talk about this. But Gnome Warrior is best in slot. I mean, just look at it. Now we've come to the most important part, in my opinion, which is training yourself for PvP. The basics being your burst and sustained rotations. You want to train these by going to my best friend, the Target Dummy. It might sound silly, but the most important thing is to have your damage come out without thinking, so you can focus on the game. It's also Soul Shuffle, and being a pumper is really important. Starting off with our sustained rotation, keep your bleeds up, follow a simple execute Mortal Strike, overpower priority, spend excess rage with Thunderclap or Ren. Moving on to the mini burst rotation, charge in, get your bleeds up, 2 stacks of overpower, stun, Colossus Smash, Blade Storm, sharpen blade into a big Mortal Strike, into your sustained rotation. This is also good practice to use sweeping strikes before you start the burst to make the damage cleave and cut down on globals. Disregard Blade Storm if you want to use it for a different purpose, like immuning CC, or you used it already. Moving to your full burst rotation, charge in, get your bleeds up, get 2 stacks of overpower, stun, Colossus Smash, sharpen, Dragon's Roar into Avatar, spin to win for a bit, then fire off a big Mortal Strike into your sustained rotation. Once the Hurricane buff comes down, if you're running it, you can Blade Storm again if you have it, or if you don't have other plans for it. For me personally, I usually use Blade Storm earlier to immune CC or get a better opener, while also having its cooldown come back earlier. Now for some tips and tricks. If you have seen my 0 to 1800s before, this might sound a little bit familiar, so if you remember these, you can skip to our final section. Now for some tips and tricks while we watch some Soul Shuffle gameplay. Some of this might sound familiar to my concurrent viewers, but it needs to be mentioned. First off, defensive techniques. As Arms Warrior, you kind of have a lackluster survivability. Your general defense will come from Ignore Pain and Impending Victory, as these both are affected by dampening and they kind of start to lose power as the game goes. You will use this basically on cooldown, especially Ignore Pain. Although in Season 3, I must say I feel like the passive survivability is much better. Spell Reflect is an amazing ability, but it's really your only anti-caster ability and should be used to counter kill abilities rather than just for defense. Die by the Sword is an immunity versus melee teams, while being a below average wall versus magic teams, so learn to use your mobility to avoid the most aggressive CDs of such teams. Using CC as a defensive tool to prevent enemy burst windows. Learning to Blade Storm CC goes and precasting defensive stance prior to getting CC'd. Of course, then using all of these skills together with Rallying Cry and Intervene to save your partners. Offensively, just make sure you're not using your stuff willy-nilly. That's my best advice. By that I mean don't just use Warbreaker on CD. Check if you got bigger cooldowns coming, which might come before your next Warbringer. Try to always have CC to make your damage stick. And the last tip, check your talents. Something I'm a big criminal with sometimes, but it's quite important to try and min-max your PvP talents on Arms. You have such a wide variety of good talents for different situations, with some great additions in 10.2. It is truly a waste to not take a second to think about what might fit better in what Soul Shuffle round. And now peeps, for the end I have some rounds selected that I think are a good showing of what Arms Warrior is capable of. What I really want to do with this section is talk about my feelings on Arms in the Dragonflight expansion. And it's definitely been a very fun ride for Arms all throughout the expansion. There has been maybe 1 or 2 moments that Arms wasn't really good, and when I say wasn't really good I mean like B tier. I think right now is maybe Another moment where Arms is maybe, you know, A tier into B tier, but just the expansion to the class. Bladestorm getting buffed to be finally an ability that deals damage instead of simply being there to immune CC, which to me as an older warrior player always felt so weird. Like Bladestorm is one of your most iconic abilities, at least to me. Arms also received a lot of added utility with the new PvP talents like Safeguard and Battlefield Commander, both being extremely good options. Going to the next expansion, War Within, it seems that Arms is still gonna be very fun and extremely good in PvP. I personally can't wait to be a total Beyblade spin to win enjoyer with the new hero spec Slayer. Sure, there is some things they could work on, but none that I think need immediate attention. Arms is going to be for sure a lot of fun. Now, if you're interested in more Soul Shuffle gameplay, I do have full gameplay breakdowns up. Did only release one recently, but there are more to come. I will have a link to that in the description, or have like a pop-up on the screen.
Bubble down. Repentance. Countered. Holy Serenity. Evasion down. Snow sack down. Cheap shot. Sprint. Stroke of shadow. Crimson violet.
And that is it, peeps, for another installation of the 0 to 1800 series. Next up, for the end of Dragonflight, I think I might do another 2 of these, like Enhance and Fury, I'm thinking right now. Maybe Demon Hunter, but we shall see. As always, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things the YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.